Who are these people?
A bit of a short one, but I brought this because I've been a bit worried about AI in general and its overarching control that it might be getting, seeing as how they are willing to put it into every new product ever. Um, but I found this in SchreerPost by Matthew Guariglia from the EFF. It says the U.S. national security state is here to make AI even less transparent and accountable. So, yay! I'm sure that'll be fine. So, and I don't think I've heard this anywhere else. But the Biden White House has released a memorandum on advancing United States leadership in artificial intelligence, which includes, among other things, a directive for the national security apparatus to become a world leader in the use of AI. Under direction from the White House, the national security state is expected to take up this leadership position by poaching great minds from academia and the private sector and, most disturbingly, leveraging already functioning private AI models for national security objectives. So
Right.
that should be great. Private AI systems like those operated by tech companies are incredibly opaque. People are uncomfortable, and rightly so, with companies that use AI to decide all sorts of things about their lives, from how likely they are to commit a crime to their eligibility for a job to issue involving immigration insurance and housing. Right now, as you read this, for profit companies are leasing their automated decision making services to all manner of companies and employers, and most of those affected will never know that a computer made a choice about them and will never be able to appeal that decision or understand how it was made. But it can get worse. Combining both private AI with national security secrecy threatens to make an already secretive system even more unaccountable and untransparent. The constellation of organizations and agencies that make up the national security apparatus are notoriously secretive. EFED had to fight in a court a number of times in an attempt to make public even the most basic frameworks of global dragnet surveillance and the rules that govern it. Combining these two will create a Frankenstein's monster of secrecy, unaccountability, and decision making power. While the executive branch pushes agencies to leverage private AI expertise, our concern is that more and more information on how these AI models work will be cloaked in the nigh impenetrable veil of government secrecy because AI operates by collecting and processing a tremendous amounts of data, understanding what information it retains, and how it arrives at conclusions will all become incredibly central to how the national security state thinks about issues. This means not only will the state likely make the arrangement that the AI's training data may need to be classified, but they may also argue that companies need to, under penalty of law, keep the governing algorithms secret as well. As the memo says, AI has emerged as an era-defining technology and has demonstrated significant and growing relevance to national security. The United States must lead the world in the responsible application of AI to appropriate national security functions. As the U.S. national security state attempts to leverage powerful commercial AI to give it an edge, there are a number of questions that remain unanswered about how much that ever tightening relationship will impact much needed transparency and accountability for private AI and for profit automated decision making systems. Thoughts, Camper?
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned this. I think I shared this with you last night, but I was speaking to a connection that my cousin referred me to last weekend regarding my career post teaching, and we were talking about different industries that I can look into getting into. One of them, and he said this, you may not like it, but you might want to consider going into tech in terms of AI and its use in education. how do you feel about that possibility? And I mentioned to him, I work with you, and all you talk about is AI all the time. So, but one of the things I mentioned to him was, especially in AI and use of education, yeah, like you can use AI. Look, I have a colleague who basically uses AI to write stuff for him, like,
Right. Yeah.
right now. So, like another teacher, like not everything, but like certain things he'll use AI for. So if he's doing that, you can imagine what a high school student will start to be able, well, even now, like what they're able to do, with the use of AI. And I think, point being, it's just, yeah, it's kind of the new thing right now. That's kind of like, and now, like, even within our phones, they have AI now. Um, but it does worry me in terms of like, eh, just how, like, yeah, just what is the limit? Like,
Right.
how much is too much in terms of, in the same way that people can be overly reliant on the internet. Like, how much can people be overly reliant on AI to essentially do everything for them? But I think, especially given its link within the security sector in our country, like that, I just worried that that's the stuff that you're able to possibly do can be used against you if you're not careful, or
Yeah.
they can get information on you that they do not necessarily need to get. So it just seems to be like the whole thing, to make this equivalent, like a slice of Swiss cheese. Like, it's just very, so much holes in it, that of things that can go wrong, and like, and there's no checks or balances even within how to make sure that AI is used in a way that is safe, that kind of protects the consumer. But I think more importantly, it's just the idea of, and we've talked about this at length, and I know you've talked about this with India, how do you miss that? Like the use of AI in terms of, in certain industries where essentially you do not need a person to do it. You can just have the computer do it. So what does that mean in terms of our economy?
Yeah.
In like, um as far as jobs and pay, etc. So those are the other things that the article didn't mention, that I know I've mentioned here before, but I think also need to be kind of looked at, and with a critical eye, in terms of, especially given this upcoming administration, who, they talk a lot about, immigrants and how they're coming in and seemingly taking over jobs, like, and I just wonder if the use of AI is going to rack up under
So
this administration because of that.
there was a Reddit AMA with Stephen Hawking a long, long time ago, where people asked him what he felt like automation and like kind of like AI wasn't as big a topic in that automation then, but it is now. It was more like
Mhm.
manufacturing automation. But I think it still applies to me. Like this is similar automated technology, but it's much more in the fields of like lower level critical thinking jobs, right? Like, where your AI fits that role pretty well. But his answer was if machines produce everything we need, the outcome will depend on how things are distributed. Everyone can enjoy a life of luxurious leisure if the machine produced wealth is shared, or most people can end up miserably poor if the machine owner successfully lobby against wealth redistribution. So, for the trend seems to be towards the second option, with technology driving ever increasing inequality. I think that's going to
Mm.
be the key factor. A lot of this AI kind of gatekeeps a lot of jobs that it didn't beforehand, right? Like now it
Right.
completely eliminates a lot of those. Those people who would have had those jobs now have to find something else to do.
Hmm.
So that's either fall backwards towards manual labor that automation can't do, and or try to fall forwards and like get some form of higher education that is either running those systems and or maintaining those systems, and there's just not going to be as much of that. So
Right.
I mean, the fact that it's now going to be connected to the deep state with who knows how much data that could give it, you know, and like what it could be connected to. Like, I really would like to not have it near any red buttons because, you know, that might be bad.
Right.
But yeah, I found it interesting, and I haven't heard a lot of other people talking about it, and wanted to get your thoughts on that. I don't know how much, you know, like, is this just allowing FBI members to use like ChatGPT, or are they going to actively make their own AI systems outside of that? Which is what it sounds like, that they're bringing in leaders in the field to try to do that.
Right.
So, you know, and again, if we're doing it, guess who else is? So that's what's called an arms race. That's what that's called. So it's just now AI arms and data arms, data warfare. So we'll see. But don't look good. I don't like those words. So, and I don't think Trump's going to do any different. He loves that crap for business. That's great for business.
Exactly. So this is why I kind of imagine the timing just seems to be kind of interesting, given that, you know, and then in light of the cultural issues that the Republicans have been campaigning on, that this just kind of fits very neatly in terms of wrapping up a lot of stuff that they've kind of discussed in terms of what they want. And, you know, just the destruction of like certain departments, like, will those be run by AI? Like, you know, so of course there's a lot of unknowns even in that right now, but
yeah,
that worries me.
For sure. Well, talking about these things might be why the AI systems at YouTube have demonetized us. So if you want to fund our own robot AI dogs to help combat their robot AI dogs, make sure to scan that QR code on your screen, or go to ko-fi.com/indienewsnetwork, or put !donate in the chat, or go down on that doobly-doo and find the links there. You know, it's easy. Hurry up, do the thing. But we get it. Times are tight. You know, capitalism sucks. So if you can't do that, like and subscribe, hit the share button, comment, let us know what you think. Is this terrifying as I think, or am I crazies? Well, don't answer that. I already know the answer. But, you know, otherwise, help us get to 3K. Send this to your friends. But thanks for watching.